Hello and welcome back to Roads Yet Traveled. We will be continuing where we left off in Rhoun's route. So last we saw, we made up with Rhoun. We basically, they told us, told Tucker, that they were scared for Tucker. They didn't know really how to help, and the whole situation where Tucker basically had a mental breakdown didn't really help. It kind of scared Rhoun, but not so much in the, ooh, no, scary alien. More in a, oh no, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do when, he's having a mental breakdown. So, yeah, things are more or less mended with Rhoun. I'm assuming that would also be the same, that would be the case with the other two guardians. We met Maruk's second in command, Alistair Tio. She's a handful. Poor Maruk. It seems like the assistants for these guys are handfuls. They're weird. Anyway, so yeah. I believe, we also found out that Tucker is into Rhoun. So yeah. Anyway, so I guess without further ado, let us continue Rhoun's route. Anyways, shall we? Yeah, right. So, what's first anyways? First would be over here. He says as he leads me back to the large circular device at the back of the room. You may still be familiar with this one. You've been through it once already. The door opens and a bed-like protrusion comes out of the wall. Right. X-rays or something, yeah? The professor asked for, frankly, a stunning amount of internal scans to be done. Some that would have been, a bit more intrusive than I would have liked, so I condensed the list and selected the ones that I thought would be best. And he'll be okay with that? He's not the one with 3 medical degrees, so he'll have to live with it. Anyways, some of the things that he asked for were exercises anyway. For example, he asked that I try to do a complete internal biopsy, and maybe even some marrow samples. Whereas we can clearly just do some internal scans instead. Oh, so like an MRI or something? We have that technology back home is all. Ah, that's good. So you understand some of what's happening then? I mean, for me, it just boils down to sitting still for a few marks, but yeah, I get it. Well, we should get started then. Do you mind taking your shoes off and emptying your pockets? Any number of miscellaneous things could interfere with the test. Oh, yeah, no problem. Thank you. Now, don't worry too much about this first one. I can sit with you here while we do it. I will just ask that you try and sit still. Yeah, of course. Mind helping me up? He offers a paw and I slip into the device. It's immediately colder in there somehow, but I manage to rest my arms at my sides as the machine slips me into the wall. I can't see, but I think that he's seated just above my head. I hear him flipping through some documents and talking under his breath. The dim lights move in a hypnotic pattern on the ceiling, only a foot or two from my face. So, what is this Sokonos project anyways? The one you keep talking about. Some big new thing coming in, yeah? Oh, well... Clearance aside, I suppose I can tell you. Clearance? Is it really that secretive? It's less so much a secret and more so just proper procedure. I haven't even told Pater of all the specifics yet. Really? Can't imagine he's happy about that. He's used to it. He's been at Sokonos longer than I have. Oh, that's surprising. Is it? Well, kind of. I figured since your dad... since the professor was so prolific, you'd have been around since you were qualified. I worked for some of the subsidiaries for a while. That doesn't mean that I wasn't here working on the station. I just wasn't a Sokonos employee. Ah, so it's semantics. Are you sure that you want to start arguing with me? I could forget to take you out of there for a mark or two. I have been busy after all. And let me starve? You'd never. You're not hungry, are you? I hear him almost whimper. No, Marrowyn, I'm fine. Thank you. But that's kinda cool still. I forgot that not everyone here works for Socknos. It feels like that at times, but no. I don't really know how ubiquitous Socknos is outside of this place. I can only imagine that they're pretty damn important. They basically seem like an arm of the government at this point. So... are you gonna tell me about it? Oh, it's not as exciting as you might imagine. They're having us run trials on some new drug that they've been working on. Something about bone and muscle atrophy in spaceborne individuals. That's a thing that happens on stations with no gravity, if you're not careful. It's not really fatal, mind you, but it's still something that we need to overcome for long-term sustainability. That sounds pretty important. Is that something that you want to be working on, though? If it ends up helping people, then of course. But it just as likely could fail to pass the trial stages. That must be rough for him, working on something for months only to have it shelved because it just can't be done at the time. So what's up with all the boxes and new equipment then? Seems like a lot for just some drug trials. Honestly, I'm not sure myself. And there's apparently still more waiting in the cargo hold as well. I do appreciate getting new tools every once in a while, but this does feel a bit excessive. Maybe they're just being cautious? Yes, that is a virtue that they'd like to think they preach, isn't it? He continues reading as I feel myself getting drowsy, staring at the ceiling. I want to itch every single inch of my body at the same time, just waiting like this, and somehow he can tell. You're about halfway there, Tucker. Really? No. Are you doing all right, though? Yeah. Just a bit bored. I can imagine. Do you need anything? Not really, but talking helps. Anything cross your mind? I don't really understand something. Maybe you can help me figure it out? Okay, what is it? You've talked about other stations before, but I don't understand. Are they just civilizations living in space? It's a bit complicated. There are various orbital and low orbiting stations around most of the planets in our system, but there aren't like this one. Some house civilians, or entire communities, and some are strictly for research or government business. Very few of them have gravity. The ones in low orbit do, but those are really only on Ilo, and are different in their own right. Tyr said something about that, I think. Yes. He worked there for a time, I believe. So wait, why do people live on these stations then? Don't you have like 3 planets that you could be on instead? Why live anywhere? Societal reasons, socio-economical reasons, it's a whole bevy of issues. For Ilo, it's mainly the issue of overpopulation. If you can't create enough cities on the ground, make them in the sky. Not everyone wants to move to Uran or Reich, and few still even can. Space travel may be easier for us than it is for your species, but it's still not an easy process, and it's far from being wholly commercialized. You didn't mention Ilo had an overpopulation issue. I didn't mention a lot of things about the planets, Tucker. We barely had time for a summary. Yes, Ilo has had a population crisis for a few generations now. The new cities have helped, but they aren't a permanent solution. I had no idea. Perhaps I am explaining it poorly. It's not as awful as I believe you think it is. People thrive, society flourishes, just as it always has. Many of our best recruits are from Ilo, including Pater and myself. I thought you didn't know where you came from. Oh, well, the orphanage was on Ilo. Whether I came from the planet's surface or an orbital matters little. It's not like they transported me from Uran just to get adopted. No, I guess not. Why is every answer here raising even more questions? So there are stations like that on every planet? Even the uninhabited ones? Most of them? I don't believe Terum or Reckling have any. And if there's one orbiting an uninhabited planet, it's most likely a research station like this one. And they're mostly around Ilo, though. I believe so. Uran and Reich don't quite have the same infrastructure to support building them, let alone the economy to keep them running. As long as they don't need them, I suppose. I wonder what Maruk could tell me about that. Well, thanks for explaining that. I will say, though, it definitely makes me want to visit Ilo at some point, if that ever becomes a possibility. I hadn't really thought about leaving the station for a while, and especially not to go to an alien planet. I wonder if that'd ever be possible. I doubt Marrowyn thinks about leaving the station too often either. That might be a while, Tucker. Yeah, I realize that. No worries. It's okay, really. How much longer until I can stretch my legs, Doc? Marrowyn? The scan finished a few minutes ago. I, just didn't want to cut you off while you were still talking. Please let me out. The machine slides out from the wall and a paw helps me back to my feet. I get a few stretches in while he fiddles with the nearby display. So, this was your first X-ray from a few days ago, and this one is from today. 2 almost identical images appear on screen in front of me. It's like a really strange game of spot the difference as I look for any changes in my bones. I think I noticed something on one of my legs, but when I point it out, Doc waves it off as superficial. I keep trying until he finally raises a clawed finger to a part of my right arm. Here. This could be some small fracture of some kind. Do you mind if I feel it? Huh? Oh, my arm. Yeah, sure. Turning to the side, I raise my arm for him, and he gently starts pressing down where he thinks the damage might be. Do you feel anything? Anything at all? I feel some really soft paws pressing into me, but not much beyond that. Not really. You can press harder if that help. No. You'd be able to feel it by now. Well, at least the scan came out negative. I'm sure the rest will too. Don't worry. Tucker? I think that we might have to do part of the scan over again. I see an issue here. What's wrong, Doc? He raises a paw to the diagram, pointing to my jaw. Oh, right. Hehehe. About that? What? That's, not an error. Huh? Tentatively, I smile, pointing at the gap between my teeth. Marrowyn leans over, and I watch as his eyes narrow in on the wound before going wide with shock. Should I even ask how that happened? I, think you know already. He brings his paws to his face, dragging them down his long muzzle as he lets out a labored sigh. Does it hurt? Your wound. Does it hurt anymore? No. It's okay now, thank you. Well, let me know if it begins to cause any discomfort. I'll see what I can do about it. In the meantime, do you mind coming over here? He gets up and heads over to the other machine. What's this one gonna do to me? Hopefully nothing, but it should give us a good idea of the structure of your nervous and circulatory systems. Like my lungs? More like your veins. I know it may seem a bit unnecessary with your lack of fur, but it will give us more to work with. Helping me up onto the table, I lay down as the rings on the machine whirl to life, moving up and down in an almost disorientating pattern. This shouldn't take nearly as long. I'm going to go get some things ready while you wait. Is that all right? Oh, sure. More tests? Lunch, actually. I believe Pater has something to report, so he'll be back as well. Yeah, sure. Go for it. He smiles and steps away, marching off and digging through one of the fridges in the back of the room as his tail lolls behind him. I'm still amazed that he hasn't knocked anything over with that damn thing. Being able to see the rest of the room is quite nice, even if I still can't move. Time slips by as the rings do their best to lull me to sleep. Before I know it, a large paw is being offered and I get myself up off of the scanner. I hope that was alright. Nothing too horrible. Was that it? I almost fell asleep for a minute there. Not all the tests have to be terrible. Not that, they're terrible, just terribly important. His massive grin implies that was a joke, but I unfortunately can't make myself laugh even if he did try his hardest. Pater should be here soon though, if you'd like to take a seat. I nod graciously, taking some assistance in getting up on one of the stools and resting on the empty desk. Marrow goes about preparing some of the scans for reviews while musing to himself about, well, something. I can't quite hear him, but his muted tone speaks volumes. I'd almost say he sounds disappointed. I hope that he's just bored with how good and healthy and totally not worrying my scans are. I see charts come up and his expression shifts. I want to ask what's wrong, but the second that I breathe in to speak up, he walks further away, leaving me with just a sigh. He doesn't seem worried though, that's for certain. I'll know soon enough. Probably. Whether or not what's wrong with me is physical, mental, or, well, spiritual, there's probably a good chance one of these tests today can figure something out. I doubt that it will explain what I saw though. As I go to rest my head, the far door opens and I perk up, seeing a pair of pointy ears peeking out from behind a desk. Senno, if you ever use me as a delivery boy again, I swear that I will have your tail. Ah, Tucker, lunch is here. Pater grumbles but graciously puts the tray on the table for all of us before taking a seat across from me. Oh, you're still alive? That's good. Figured Marrowyn might have stepped on you by accident. Same could be said for you. Haha. Really, Pater, he's right. You better watch where you stand. He rolls his eyes and starts taking food for himself, shoving something into his maw before continuing. But really, he good? You don't seem too worried. You didn't send any worrying messages at least. Everything was pretty good on my end. It's hard to say. I don't see any blockages or hemorrhaging in his venous system. His x-rays turned out alright, perhaps just a hairline fracture or two, but really everything seemed fine. And? Well, I don't really know what Tyr wanted. I've gone through his ridiculous demands and I don't know what's wrong with him. Not that I'm saying that there is something wrong, but after what you've described and what happened, I'm just not sure what to do. We still have to do the last scan after lunch, but I'm not holding out hope that we'll find anything. Alright, and? We both turn to Pater, who's halfway through chewing a dumpling of some kind. And? Yeah, and? Usually doctors are happy when their patients' tests come back negative. Were his vitals good? Well, from what we understand, yes, but... And his lungs? All sound good? From what I heard, yes, but I really must state that. And his blood work, done by your fantastic assistant, was fine. He's fine. Marrowyn, I know you're worried, but please don't let it consume you. I've seen what this kind of work does to you, and I'd really prefer if you didn't sequester yourself away for another 2 weeks. I'd really like to have my boss back. Pater, even if that were all true, which it is, there could still be a million things wrong with him. How are you so calm about this? Hey, Tucker, humor me for a moment, alright? You just translate, don't interfere. What are you... No, just listen. Alright, Tucker, tell me, what are your symptoms again? Memory loss, hallucinations, dizziness, and headaches. I look to Marrowyn, who looks surprisingly annoyed, as though this kind of thing was played out before. Still, he translates for me. Oh, wow, so let me get this right. The alien that has been displaced from his kind is suffering symptoms of anxiety and some severe traumatic stress disorders. He needs therapy, not a bone marrow biopsy. Pater, that's not just it. Please don't what? Make your life easier? Marrowyn, I know how you are when Seno tells you to do things, alright? We've worked together for long enough that I can understand that. You're grasping at tails here. What are you trying to find? Did he even tell you? You can't seriously expect to just keep running tests on the poor kid until you find something that you can fix. Avoid, he shouldn't even be here. He should be resting or enjoying some resort somewhere. I still can't believe Saknos decided to put him to work of all things. He was bored in his room. We're just glad that he's getting out. Fine, whatever. I'm still not going to waste my time on any bullshit he sends your way, alright? Not going to stop working on the kid, obviously, but don't waste my time being like this, okay? Well... Verison, please, show some professionalism. Oh my, fangs come out. If only you could speak to your father like that. Marrowyn gets up and walks to the back of the lab, going over something on one of the monitors. I arch my back, turning around to watch him go, but before I make a decision, Pater speaks up. Don't worry about him. He'll be fine in a few minutes. A mark at most. Sorry you had to see that, I guess. I'm not the biggest fan of, the interesting relationship my boss has with his boss. I scrambled about taking care of a lot working for Saknos, but never as much working under Marrow. I'm sure you've seen it, like a grain of sand, just like that, he's gone. Off to the boy knows where doing something for his father. I understand that he's also his boss, in a way, but still. Maybe I just need a vacation. He stares off, casually finishing his plate and tapping his claws against the desk. Seeing Marrowyn moping in the corner though, I almost feel obliged to help, as I'm sure that he'd do the same for me. I can practically hear Pater roll his eyes as I get up and head over. The worst part though is, I'm not sure he's wrong. I mean, about anything really. It really could be crazy stress symptoms. It might not explain the weird shit that happened to my phone or how I got grabbed by the monster, but I don't know. I don't think a doctor would be able to explain those things away either. I think that I'm going to need a priest at this point, and a damn good one. Walking up to Marrow, I call out, gently tugging at his jacket. Hey, are you alright? I am, thank you. Are you sure? I am, truly. It's just... I don't know what I can do for you, and that worries me. Oh, you're not upset? Oh, no. I'm not blind to how things are. I know how my relationship with Tyr looks from the outside. It's always been, hard to explain. Pater just has his own way of putting things, and sometimes, well, even when he is right, he can be a bit pushy about it. Does he resent you? Me? Oh, void no. At least I don't think so. Pater, do you hate me? Yes. I'm pretty sure he's joking. But about my father? Well, I believe it's quite clear. What do you want to do then? I don't know. If you can stand to sit around for a bit longer today, I see no harm in performing some more of the tests he requested. But I don't know, Tucker. It's been a long time since I've hadn't known what to do about something like this, and that worries me. I expected as much from when we first met, but still. What do you want to do? It's your life, and I know you're worried about this too. I am, really. But Pater might be right. I don't know if this is the right direction for all of this. For now, I'd be happy to finish the test that you prepared today. I'm sure that it'll help put your mind at ease too, at least a bit. It just might. Thank you, Tucker. We should really get back to our break now. I'd feel better if you ate something as well. Just, try to ignore him. Huh? I ask, but he doesn't respond. He ushers us back to the table, and I immediately see what he means. His lovely assistant has the most indignant smirk on his face. Marrowyn doesn't even face forwards, forcing me to bear the full brunt of it. It really is hard working for Socknose sometimes, but it's even harder being right all the time. I truly don't know how you do it. I work out, read up on all the trending practices, eat a balanced diet. I wouldn't call it balanced, Verisum. All I've ever heard you talking about is eating meat. Fair, Senno. Maybe I just need to try something a little heavier. What kind of meat does he eat? I whisper to Marrowyn as Pater cools down. Men. Huh? I'm sorry, perhaps I shouldn't have made that remark. It's not an appropriate conversation for this time. Huh? I thought he was of age for his species. What's got you all in a fuss? Well, sure, but we still haven't spoken much on species dimorphism or sexual preferences compared to reproductive organs and... He cuts himself off as he notices Pater staring. I like men. I know that. By the void, I wasn't telling you that. I was telling him. Oh, right. Especially big ones. He says in a sultry voice, punctuated by biting his lower lip. Stop it. Marrowyn replies in a flat tone. I can't say that I've really thought about the preferences of the crew. I mean, even if a flood of memories comes washing over me from this morning and I have to cover my face to stifle a blush. See what you've done. Me? No, he's fine. Sorry, nothing. I'm, glad for him, really. Well, yes, my dear assistant here has a certain proclivity for other Karain of the same gender. Is that something that happens in your species? I should mention that this isn't specifically for the purpose of reproduction, although just because it hasn't worked yet doesn't mean that I won't keep trying. Too far? What I'm trying to say is that there are certain individuals of our species who have a preference for a mate that goes beyond that of creating offspring. Does that occur with your species as well? Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I should say anything more, at least right now. I mean, surely there's no harm in it, right? But I'll give it time. Oh, so then I don't have to explain further. That's great. I can. Sorry, that was too far. Got it. Anyways, now that tangent's out of the way, Pater, don't you have something to report? Back to business, I see. Alright, yeah, I do. I finished your blood work, Tucker, and it's pretty good. It might take a few days for the allergy cultures to come back, but everything else looks fine. At least as far as we can understand. You haven't caught anything new. I don't see any issues with red blood cell count or anything like that. These are all, of course, coming from measuring your previous samples, so... they'll never be perfect numbers, but you get the idea. I will say, though, your diet needs improvement once these tests are finished. Your iron levels are low. We really need to get some meat in you. I'd offer mine, but... Well, actually... Pater... Stop it. But beyond that, everything seems okay. Although, with your permission, Marrowyn, I'd like to start taking things a step further. You know, I don't like touting my titles for nothing. Senno, I'm talking about vaccines. And if not that, then at least dietary supplements, as I mentioned before. I know that you brought it up before, but are you sure? One mistake and, well, I understand the risks, I do. But we're one carrier away from a catastrophe for Tucker. We've never had any major breakouts here, but if it does happen, I don't want to leave it up to chance. It'll only be worse if he gets sick and we can't do anything. I know. I'll approve a testing phase for now, but please take your time with it. I know, I will. I've had some promising results using these previous samples, but it'll take a while. It's never going to be completely safe. I'm sorry, Tucker. There's just no way to test something like this on just one person, but I really do think that it's the only way. I know. Thank you, Pater. I appreciate you looking into that. Is there anything else that came up? With this blood work? I don't think so. Alright, well, you can go for the day if you'd like. I think that we're just going to do one more scan before we finish up here. What's left? Magnetic resonance. We've seen his internals from when he arrived, but I'd like a better scan. And the machines? You can reset them yourself? Shouldn't take more than a mark, or two. Alright, I'll come in early and check. Are we still preparing for that Socknose trial? Yes, and it has to be started before they get here. An early shift it is then. Alright, I'll leave you two alone. Marrowyn, don't overthink it, alright? Thank you, Pater. I know. He stands, mouth at a slant, tapping his paw on the desk before relenting and sighing. Whatever he had to say, I guess it can wait. But in his case, maybe he's just tired of repeating himself. Either way, he offers me a farewell and says that he'll be in touch if anything comes up. Marrowyn, however, is already slouched over a console typing something into a monitor. I can almost see the cogs in his brain turning as I see that he clearly hasn't taken Pater's advice. Ever. I don't want to bother him about it now, though. He's stressed out enough today as it is. Finishing up on his lunch, I watch him go about setting things up and going through some messages. He takes a seat on the stool, eyes sagging behind his glasses as the light from his monitor does its best to hide his expression. It's barely the 20th mark and we're both exhausted. It's fine. I don't have to do much these next few days. And then whatever Socknose brings, I'm sure that I'll be ready for it. I wonder if I should... Well, I'm not sure the captain takes walk-ins, but I could certainly try. Maybe she'll be interested in telling me what's going on, simply because it might amuse her. I get the feeling that's the only reason she does anything. Why else call people into at random times with cryptic messages? I don't think that I even have her number, actually. Reaching into my pocket to check, Marrowyn calls out to me. Tucker, are you done eating? Would you mind coming over here? Yeah, sure. Everything alright? Oh yes, just here, look at this. He points to a screen displaying one of the x-rays on my leg. There is a very small crack going down the front of it. I wonder if that's where I hit my chin when I saw that flying Roomba thing. Ouch, yeah, look at that. Think it's okay? Well, does it hurt to walk around? Not really. Then it's fine. He says in an almost banal tone. Wiping his brow, he sighs. I was just going over everything again while I had time. I'm just going to mark it down for later in case it gets worse. What? Marrowyn, didn't we just talk about this? Well, Yes? I know Pater doesn't have a full understanding of what's happening, not that I think anyone does, but I still think that he's right. Whatever's going on, it might not be something that you can just fix. And I don't want you to try. I'd never ask you to give up, but I think you need to at least think about it differently. He sighs and tries to turn away. Marrowyn, listen to me. I'm going to be okay, alright? If you can't find anything wrong with me, then you've done your best, right? He doesn't look like he wants to admit to anything right now, let alone concede to any fault. It's almost impossible to see anything behind his eyes at times. He's usually so energetic and warm, wearing his disarming smile. But now he's hunched over in a corner, fretting, and all I can think of is how I've been here before. I know. I'm sorry. Being stumped by something like this really just... Well, usually I can ask someone for help, but in your case... It's not easy being the only premier researcher on alien biology. When did you get that title? I've only been here for 2 weeks. Just now? Yeah? And what does the premier researcher think that we should do next? By the eye, I was hoping you'd tell me. Well, the last machine should be just about calibrated for you, if you'd like to get that over with. Otherwise, there isn't much to do today until your guardian finishes their shift. So I'd say that we just get this over with. Sounds good. He smiles as he helps me up onto the bed. He steps back and another dizzying array of machinery unfolds itself over me. Now, I know that this might look intimidating, but you really won't feel a thing. That being said, it might take a while, so if you do happen to doze off, don't worry about it. Just try not to move too much. Oh, alright. I hear a sharp beep, and the array starts to twitch and flow above me, moving up and down my body in constant rhythm. Multiple small arms with varying discs and lights all pointed down at me. I feel like if I were to ever be dissected, now would be the time. I'll be here if you need me, just shout. I nod and he looks like he wants to interject, but he just scoffs and walks off. I shouldn't even nod. It's fine. He said that this was the last one anyways. I just hope that this helps, even though I know it probably won't. It feels like a mark has passed since I've started laying here, and I can barely tell if we've made any progress. Marrowyn has to step out briefly to help another one of his assistants, and he hasn't been back since. The array is still moving, so I assume that I still shouldn't be, but I'll be damned if it isn't getting annoying. I'm having a hard time even staying awake. The lights dimmed about 10 minutes ago after Marrowyn left. They must be motion sensitive or something. I really don't want to sleep though. I'd hate to mess up the tests and have to do it again. My eyes close. My thoughts vanish and all I feel is the comfort of the lights slowly dancing above me. At least I don't dream. I feel it in my bones. Something is calling to me. From my wrists to my spine, it's all the same. A certain numbness. It feels like inaction, like a lapse in blood flow causing my nerves to short circuit down the last neuron. I should really stretch. All I need to do is reach out and... Tucker, please don't do that. My eyes shoot open as Marrowyn grabs my wrist. What? I thought that I said not to touch the array. It's quite fragile. Perhaps I forgot. That was my fault. He lets go of my arm and I rub my wrist. It feels numb. What happened? What do you mean? I came back from helping my assistant and you had fallen asleep. Since you didn't need to be awake for the scan, I decided to let you rest. I had only noticed that you just woke up. The test finished a few minutes ago, so that's good timing. Were you trying to get up? Sorry, you should have called me. You know I'd be happy to come and... Marrowyn. I almost cursed out as I sit up and kick my legs to the side. He looks more worried than upset as he comes to my side, probably picking up on my heartbeat, which has quickly risen. What is it, Tucker? I don't know. Sorry, What happened? I don't know. Maybe it was nothing. I'm sorry. I think I'm a bit jumpy. Turning away from my hands, I see the worry in his eyes refocus with determination. I thought it was happening again. It might have been nothing. I was just trying to get up and I was reaching for... something. It might have been that, somnambulism thing that you were talking about. Somnambulism? Sleepwalking? It's possible. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have left you. I'm still going to record this, but I'm worried that it's happening so soon. Perhaps this was too many tests for the day. You must be stressed and tired, no doubt. Well, the good news is that you're done here for the day, and the test finished while you were asleep. Oh, well that's... something at least. Any news from Rhoun? Ah, let me check. Rhoun says that he's on his way. He'll probably be here after we go over these results. Did you look at them before I woke up? Not yet. I was working over there until I noticed that you were awake. They should be ready, if you'd like to finish up. Yeah, might as well. I have no idea why Marrow wants me to look over these as well, but maybe I can offer some help. I barely know where half of my organs are, as it is. Let alone their names. The basics, sure, but beyond that? Avoid forgive me if he asks where my gallbladder is. Scoffing, I hop off the table and head over to Marrowyn, who's listlessly typing away at the keyboard. Long day? Something like that. Are you sure you're okay, Tucker? You scared me back there. Right. Am I? Look, I don't mean that I don't even know how to tell if that was anything. I woke up so fast that I've forgotten if I was dreaming or... I think that I've had a long day myself. Right. I'm sorry. For? Well, for maybe overreacting about everything that you told me and what Tyr asked of me. Or maybe underreacting? It's a bit hard to tell. Marrowyn, you're doing your best. As are you, Tucker. He rests his paw on my shoulder, gently patting it before smiling and turning back to the monitor. So, what are we looking for anyways? With this? Well, normally this kind of test is for checking if a patient has any issues with the soft tissues in their bodies. So your organs and the likes. Since we're not scanning for anything in particular, it will also act as a good frame of reference. Everything here can be translated to a 3D image if we needed to, so it's a great way to learn about what's going on the inside of you. He pokes at my chest and I bat his paw away. But otherwise, not a lot. I'm sorry to say, but if you did have a tumor or something like that, it might not be easy for me to locate. Not that I think that you do. There would be other symptoms, but still. Are you sure that you're the premier alien researcher on this station? Hey now, I'd like to see anyone else run these tests better. Alright. So, is that it? I ask as a dull, monochromatic image pops up onto the screen. Ah, yes. He moves a slider and it's almost as though layer upon layer is hewn away as the image cuts through my body. It's a bit unsettling, honestly. Not the most flattering photo that I've ever taken. Haha. Rarely it is. What is it? I ask as I notice that he can barely take his eyes off of the screen. It's just... I've studied Karain. I've even studied some animals, but this? You? A non-alien life form? You're fascinating, Tucker. I can't help but blush for some reason. I only hope the green lights of the room hide it. Thanks. By all means, it was a compliment. I just never thought that I'd be here. Well, it seems like everything worked out okay, but I'm going to need to look over this for a while before I can make any assumptions. Although... He deftly moves the scan, now a view from above, and slowly starts cutting away layer through my head. I'm almost getting a headache looking at it. Although... No, sorry, I thought I saw something. Well, how does it look to you? Bad, honestly. I never thought that I'd have to see something like this. Yes, it can be a little discomforting, I imagine. I've had similar tests done on me before I got my neural. Can't say that I saw the results, but I imagine that they were equally as unnerving. Well, what do you think of it all then? Of what? I gesture vaguely at the screen. I don't know. Are human brains weird? Totally different? Oddly shaped? You tell me. He rearranges his glasses and squints at the monitor. Besides the visual similarities to the lobes and a similar stem structure, I can't say for certain. I'll send it over to Pater and a few other assistants. We'll comb over these scans for anything that could be wrong. Don't you worry. Yeah. Alright, thanks, Doc. He grins before noticing something and pulls out his monitor. It's about that time as well. Rhoun is headed over now to pick you up. Do you have anything else that you'd like to go over today before departing? I don't think so. But please, let me know if you find anything. I don't know how much I'll be able to help, but if you see something that you don't understand, I'd be happy to try. Of course. I awkwardly smile and stand around before looking around the room. Hey Marrow? I think I'm gonna wait outside, if that's alright. Realizing that I've been in this room all day and it's starting to get to me. Is that alright? Oh, of course. Do you want me to wait with you, or will you be alright? I'm just gonna stand next to the door. If I need anything, I'll come back in. Alright, I'll be here if you need me. Thank you for today, really. I know it might have been a bit of a hassle, but I really think that this will help the both of us in the long run. I mean it. A sudden rush of unwarranted cynicism tears through me, and I wonder if this will help us or if it will help Tyr, but I keep it to myself. Simply nodding, I head for the door and make my way outside. Before I know it, a certain disheveled Karain peeks the corner and starts heading my way. He stops a few times to recover the clattering tools that keep falling out of his bag. I decide to meet him halfway as he's receiving more stares than I am. You need help there, bud? No, I got it now, he says, zipping up his well-worn bag. I can't help but notice the zipper is already slipping back. Sorry. I lost track of time a bit. Were you waiting long? I figured that you'd still be inside with Dr. Seno. Oh, no. We finished up maybe half a mark ago. I just wanted to wait out here. It got a bit stuffy. I thought that it'd be best to wait out here. Stuffy? Do I need to check the vents again? They aren't due for cleaning for another few months. No, sorry. I meant it as a metaphor or an idiom. Or something. I just had to get out of there, alright? I don't think the metaphors work like that. Well, how was your day? Oh, not bad. We're finally catching up with the deferred repairs on the lower decks. Now most of the team is ready to return to general maintenance. You wouldn't imagine how many lights we need to replace. He looks past me down the hallway, staring at one of the lights, and when it inevitably flickers, he only sighs. You'll get there, bud. Wanna head back? Yeah. He slings his bag over his shoulder, taking one last look at the light fixture, and we head down the hall. So, what did you do today anyways? I didn't want to bother Marrow before by asking. I kinda just laid down and got irradiated all day, honestly. Huh? We did a bunch of x-rays, stuff like that. Oh, that makes sense. I haven't had one of those done for a while, not since I got my arm. He flexes his fingers and stretches out his mechanical hand before him. I notice an errant twitch in one of the two fingers, and it seems he does too. Might have to fix that. Did you ever use the other one? Huh? He cocks his head, looking at both of his paws before displaying them to me. Not like that, Rhoun. I mean the other mechanical arm you have in your room. You said it's a backup, yeah? Oh. Usually not. It's not as well tuned anymore. Do you need to work on them often? It's advised that we check them every few months. But with the work that I do, it can happen more regularly. Most prosthetics don't get quite the workout that mine does. He flexes and I can almost hear it whining as it moves. But I'm glad that your day wasn't too bad then, right? I'm sure that Marrowyn was really helpful. He's, trying. We're really still not sure what's going on, and I doubt any of the tests that we did today will tell him all that much. Oh. It's okay, bud. We're not giving up yet. Right. The conversation hits a wall, as neither of us can think of anything to say. It's not like my diagnosis is that grim. I mean, they couldn't even find anything wrong with me. But we both know that's not the answer that we're looking for. Feeling a bit worried, I ask, "How was, Milo today? Did you see him?" "He's good. We worked together to seal a crack that we found in one of the walls of column B." "That's not as bad as it sounds. Stress fractures happen all the time, and it just means that the column is moving. Which is also supposed to happen." "Well, I guess it's good that you fixed it then. How was, Kess?" "They seem fine. Why?" "Just figured that I'd ask. You always seem to work with Milo. Don't they get jealous?" "Jealous? They're my assistant, Tucker. They don't need my help." "That's not really what I..." Wait, does that mean that Milo does need your help? "Sometimes, yeah. It's a lot of work. No one should really be doing it alone. Kess just kind of does." I guess that's not really surprising considering what I've learned about them, but still. Arriving at our door, Rhoun stops and holds out his bag for me. "Hold this for me." Wait, Thud. The bag hits the hard metal floor, almost pulling me down with it. Somehow unperturbed, his pockets are scoured until a key emerges that opens a door. "Thanks," is the only thing that he says before casually lifting the bag and heading inside. Following inside, I see that he's already started peeling off his jacket and heading for the bathroom. I take the opportunity to change and push his bag to the side. Resting on my bed, Rhoun comes out a few minutes later, decently cleaned up and just as tired. He throws his jacket aside and lays face first on his bed. Looking at my monitor, I see it's still far too early to go to sleep. "You going to bed, bud?" A muffled "Mm-hmm" escapes from his pillow. Is that a yes or no? Walking over, I sit next to him and almost unconsciously begin to pat his back, rubbing it gently. He lets out a deep breath and his tail idly bats against my side. Why am I even... I freeze as I realize what I'm doing, but he doesn't seem to mind. And it's not like I'm touching his fur or anything. He's still got his tank top on after all. I've internalized this too much already. I don't know if this is okay. Patting his back a few last times, I stop. I swear that I hear him whine and his tail slowly dies down. He does, however, begin to rouse as he sits up next to me. Without a word, his head shoots to his desk and he heads over. So I guess... Is he not going to say anything about... what you doing over there, bud? Huh? Oh, I realized that I needed to ask for someone to cover my shift for me in a few days. Because, you wanted to go see something, right? Do you still want to do that? Totally, yeah. You said that you knew a place, right? Yeah. It's not too hard to get to, and it should be nice and quiet so you can relax. Great. You're still not gonna tell me what it is? Nope. You'll see soon enough. He's definitely taking me back down into the depths of the station, isn't he? It's fine. As long as we don't run into any more things down there, I'm sure that it will be somewhat relaxing. He finishes up typing before resting on his desk, just staring at the monitor. You good, bud? Yeah, sorry. I just... Thinking about the Socknose project I'm working on. I realized that I should probably double check the schedules. Make sure everyone's still on it. Oh, how's that going? It's coming along. We're almost done setting it up, so everything should be ready when the important person guy gets here. I'm just not sure how long we'll need to keep working on it after they get here. You think it's going to be some long project? I thought you were just making sure everything worked down there. We are, but that doesn't mean that we won't get new orders when they arrive. So I'm just thinking about what that could be. Despite how I might make it seem, most of the important things are accounted for. There are no major electrical problems, the exterior wall is within safe parameters, and I haven't heard anything from life support recently. Is that a bad thing? Maybe I should message them. You'd repair the life support systems? Not personally, but I can run assistance. It's like the Marrowyn. It has its own team. I can just lend some extra paws. They've asked for our help before, so it's possible. But otherwise, I'm not really sure. It's left me a bit on edge, I won't lie. It's not like the crew isn't ready to jump into action, if need be, but I do hope that I can ease up on them for a bit. Worrying about it won't help, but you're doing well to prepare for it. If you can't think of anything major to repair, then you're probably fine, right? Probably. But you're right, I'm still busy as it is. I'll see what happens when they arrive. It usually takes a few days for new orders to trickle down to maintenance anyways. I'm sure Marrowyn and the Dr. Marrowyn will end up much busier than I'll be. I can't imagine that they're going to have free time. Yeah. Do you think that you could? He goes to get up, only to realize that he's still holding onto his monitor. If his expression is anything to go by, it's probably not a good thing either. The muscles in his neck and his chest flex, but nothing happens. Bringing his paw to one of his synthetic fingers, he slowly pries it away. A mechanical whine emits from the arm, as a physical one emits from Rhoun, fighting against his own paw. Fucking Void, are you okay? Yeah. Sorry, I didn't think that it was this bad already. Do you need help? No. No. Don't touch it. I don't want you to get hurt. Just give me a second. Prying another finger off, he manages to free himself, and some semblance of control is wrenched back. He can barely even make a fist with it as he tries to check the damage. Well... Do you need me to call someone? Are you gonna be okay? Oh, it's okay. I can fix it. Do you mind clearing my desk a bit there, though? Yeah, of course. Making some room for him, he pulls out a small stool and takes a seat. Putting his other prosthetic to the side, he looks like he wants to reach for some tools, but his arm falters and fails to bend. Here, bud. Thanks. A little embarrassed, he takes the tools and starts slowly working on one of the metallic plates. Are you sure you're okay? I know you said that this can happen, but... It's fine. I just need to reset some things. Since you're here though, do you mind helping? Helping? Are you sure? You don't have to if you don't want to. It might be nice to have an extra pair of paws. You can't imagine how long this takes with only one arm. Of course. Just tell me what to do. It might be a tick. Just sit down for now. What? Rhoun, I think you only have one stool. His eyes go wide as he looks around. You don't say. Usually when people come over, they just sit on the beds. You can sit on the desk if you want. Unsure of how long this will take, and considering my options, I make some more room on the desk and hop on. From the gentle dragging of his tail on the floor, I'd guess that Rhoun approves of my choice. So what do you need me to do? For starters, you can hold this. There is a metallic snap as half of the plating on his forearm comes off, revealing the fragile wiring underneath. The piece itself is strangely soft to the touch, silky with a bit of give. Not unlike how his fingers feel. Was that supposed to snap off like that? Probably. Nose deep in his own elbow, he ignores me and keeps fiddling away with his good paw. He leverages with some tiny screwdrivers and... one of his fingers begins to twitch. Is that good? It's progress. Can you feel that? Not in the way that you might think. I only really have sensations on my paw pads, otherwise it's just kind of a suggestion of touch. Like, I know that I'm working on this connection right now. I can feel something, but it's not painful. Trust me, it doesn't feel like I'm shoving a knife in my arm. That's somewhat reassuring. A second finger jumps to life and begins slowly curling in and out. How long have... I scratch behind my ear and look away. How long has this been an issue? You know, it not working and stuff. Almost 4 cycles. I've had my prosthetic for almost 4 cycles now. And the malfunctions? Probably 2 cycles now. But, like I said, it's kind of my fault. The modifications I made to it and the stress that I put it under, they've really shortened the life expectancy of these things. I'm sorry that I asked. It's fine, Tucker. It's not really some big secret, and I understand that people can be curious. Did you know that Milo asked the first day that he arrived? Really? How'd that go? I explained it to him, and he seemed enthralled. He thought that it was like some kind of employee improvement program. Is that a thing? No. Kess gave them a scolding, but it turned out all right. Tweezers, please? Oh, gotcha. Well, I don't quite feel as bad now hearing that. You shouldn't have to feel bad, Tucker. For me, it's just part of who I am. I've gotten used to it. It was still rude of me to ask. Who told you that? Just normal societal expectations. And Marrowyn. Well, I'm not Marrowyn, and I don't mind, Tucker. His pointer finger begins to curl up. Hey, halfway there. Unfortunately, that was the easy part. Driver, please. Handing him a screwdriver, he removes another section of the plating, this time leaving it to the side with the wires still connected. Layers unfold as the depths of his mechanical arm are revealed. It is not a simple process, and minutes pass by in silence. Then something surprising happens. Rhoun starts to hum. And not a mechanical hum, but very softly under his breath, I hear a song. Perhaps I just don't focus enough when we work, or I'm too distracted by the hollow serenity of the tunnels, but I swear that he's never done this before. I want to ask, Well, so many things, but knowing Rhoun, the second that he notices that he's doing it, he'll panic and stop. Maybe that's for the best. I mean, I don't want him to embarrass himself. He's prone enough to that as it is. But this... it feels so personal. Maybe he only does it when he's tinkering on things? Or when he thinks he's alone? He is prone to forgetting when people are around. Another piece comes off and he places it to the side. "Solder, please," he says, holding out his paw. What? That one." He points. I grab. "Thanks." And he continues. It's a jagged and discordant thing, but it's definitely him. His last finger begins to move, and he grins as some semblance of control seems to have been regained. Slowly the pieces click back into place, and in about a few minutes, his arm is whole once more. It doesn't look perfect, and even I can tell that this was more of a patch-up than a true repair. But his fingers begin to move in tandem again nonetheless. I want to speak up and ask, but I'm still transfixed by what I heard. He stopped now, but it was such a calm moment to spend together. "Tucker?" Yeah? You can get off the desk now." Oh, right. Seems like he's not the only one who gets stuck in their own head. "So, was that it? Are you done?" "Yep. Well, yes and no. I did all I could, but I think I'm going to let it rest on its charging port tonight, just to be sure. Usually after repairs like that, it's best to leave it off for a bit." "Oh, right. Does it hurt?" "Taking it off? Not really, no. It's just weird when my nerves suddenly stop working on that side of my body. Going from having an arm to suddenly not is always a bit weird. Well, it's not like I haven't done it before." "Do you need help getting it off?" No, thank you. I'll just take it off before I go to sleep. I, don't like being awake without it." "Right, of course." What was I even doing before this? Before your arm got all weird? Oh man, that was like 2 marks ago now. I guess I'll figure it out in the morning. Speaking of, do you know what you're doing tomorrow? Me? I guess I hadn't thought about it. Do you want to stay here? I'd rather not. Maybe I could ask Milo if you wouldn't mind taking his shift with you. Oh, I mean, if that's alright with him. I'll send him a message then. I'm gonna get ready for bed now. You okay? Yeah, go for it. He slips into the bathroom and I finally take a seat on my bed. A strange sound emanates from deep within my throat as I try to mimic what I heard. It doesn't sound great, but I don't think that it needs to, really. Turning off the lights, I lay down, still with the song in my mind, and I let stillness wash over me. To be continued. Thank you for reading. Written and illustrated by Cryptid. I'd like to give credit to... I don't even know how to pronounce that name. I don't even know why I try. YZ for the fantastic menu art. I'd like to thank Brandel for the amazing amount of work that they've done proofreading. Thank you to Davey Odell for the music. And thank you to Zoe for the sound edit. Thank you all to my patrons. This project would be impossible without your support. And special thanks to Winter Answer, Jackson, and Marcy, and Mason. May our roads again cross. So, that was the most recent update, I guess is the way to say it. We ended up spending a lot more time with Marrowyn than with everyone else, really. But we did spend some good time with, rearranging myself in my chair, with Rhoun. which was good. We made up with Rhoun, and we found out that Tucker is really into Rhoun, the wolf mutt boy. And I did confirm with Cryptid that Rhoun is like a sort of wolf mutt type person. What else? Did I talk about anything else with him that I can say? With them that I can say? I guess not yet. Anyways, but yeah, this was a nice update, considering what Tucker has been going through, especially in the previous 2 updates where, you know, he gets its phone and he ends up breaking it after it, like, just gets screwy with him, and then having the little nightmare sleepwalking episode, which I'm pretty sure was not a sleepwalking episode. I'm pretty sure something else is going on, but, you know, we don't know about that yet. Or we don't know what it is yet, I mean. What else? Then we have... Well, actually, yeah, that's basically what happened. But now, like I said, we made up with Rhoun. We made up with our chosen partner, or my chosen partner, because I like Rhoun. I feel like I would be really good friends with him, even though we would both suffer from, like, severe anxiety. But I feel like I would get along really well with Rhoun. But then again, I think I would get along with Rhoun, Marrowyn, and even Marrowyn. But yeah. Anyway, so since this has been pretty long, I'm just gonna stick to the last parts, which would be, I guess, mostly the second half of the visit with Marrowyn. So yeah. So we got the MRI. And it's nice to see that it's not like an Earth MRI where you have to be in the tube and then you get blasted by the dun 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 like you do with an MRI. But I'm wondering what Marrowyn saw, because he did stop at something. I'm wondering if he either recognized something in the brain or something just stood out. It would be interesting if it's like, oh, this guy has a neural in his brain. What the freak? It would be weird if he did. If, like, Tucker ended up having a neural in his brain, which is the whole reason why he's, like, able to understand Karain, but curiously not read it. But then again, like just because I can understand Italian doesn't mean that I can read it, like, correctly. Even though I can understand French, doesn't mean that I can actually read it properly. Anyways, but yeah, so read it or write it too. Silly French people. Anyways, what else? Just trying to stick to the end part. I want to talk about what happened before, but, like, we have to stick to the end part, because this is the outro for the second video. Oh, well, let's talk about Rhoun and his hand. I'm wondering if his hand is going to end up breaking at a very important point. That kind of seems like it's par for the course with either Rhoun or the station itself. It is nice that they had a little moment together and that Rhoun was singing. It would have been nice, and I'm not saying that you should have done it, Cryptid, but it would have been nice if there was, like, a little snippet of Rhoun singing, like maybe just like a little tune that we could have heard, and maybe we could have, like, mimicked or whatever. I'm just saying, you know. And you're probably saying, well, give me the money so that I can pay my musician. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it was cute. I like the fact that they're now getting a little bit more close, whether or not they realize it. I'm pretty sure that Tucker realizes it, and he's going like, no. I shouldn't get too attached to this guy. I'm not a furry. It would have been funny if he hadn't mentioned that back in the beginning when he was thinking about Rhoun. I don't know if you'll be able to see the scene in the bathroom, But it would have been funny if he said like, no, I am not a furry. I can't be thinking about Rhoun like that. Cryptid, you missed out on that. Anyways, but yeah, so yeah, tell me what you guys think, and thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Rosie Traveled yourself or stay up to date with it or whatever, you can do so by going down into the link in the description, which should have a direct link for the itch.io page where you can download the game and play it, or you can just go to itch.io yourself, search Rosie Traveled. If it doesn't show up, that's because you need to tick a little box in the account settings to show specific type of games. And yeah, so it'll be there. Go look for it. Come on, go look for it there. And if you want to support the project like I do, you can subscribe to their Patreon, where you get early access to builds of Rosie Traveled, I think like 2 weeks in advance. And then, you get to see some works in progress of the game. Like, everyone that's on Patreon was able to see all the characters that are the assistants and the side characters before the public did. Like, I already knew what Pater and that one other, the Marrowyn's assistant and the other side characters already looked like, way before everyone else, before public. But yeah. Also, it's nice that in this update you actually get to meet the other assistants in case you are not in the route that was specific to that character. Like, you wouldn't have met Pater or I forget their name already if you didn't pick Marrowyn as your partner, or if you didn't pick Marrowyn as your partner. There's also, I think, 2 other characters that you don't get to see yet. Maybe we might get to see them later, who knows. But yeah, so there's that for Patreon. Yeah, so all other pertinent links. Oh, wait. Actually, should I mention this? Yeah, I'll mention it at the beginning, but I'll mention it now too. Thank you to Adastri and DWAT for basically funding the, I forgot what it's called. The power conditioner. Basically, it's like a surge protector, but it's made specifically so that the power that goes into your electronic equipment that are connected into it will have power that does not have like an interference in it, which can interfere with like recording equipment like mine. And it usually adds like a weird little hum. It sometimes doesn't happen, but sometimes it does, like specifically if you have too many things plugged in or something like that. But yeah, that will hopefully remove any weird little hums that might be hiding in the recordings in the future. And but yeah, thank you Adastri and DWAT for funding that. Yay! I'd ask if you want something like maybe like, can you like read the specific visual novel or something like that, but like I don't know, like if you're hearing this, like maybe suggest something, I don't know. I'll take it into heart, like when I read Soul Creek, when you guys all decided to help me in my time of need, stress, when my dog died, and suggest something, and I'll see if I can read it. Like, just please don't make it a dating simulator. Those are super boring. But yeah, anyway, so thank you Adastri and DWAT. Like, give him a hand, give him like clap, people, clap, I say. Anyways, but yeah, so I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.